right, mic check, mic check. Morning Masters Podcast, y'all's main, of course. Got a special guest across from me, Miss Jules in the building. How you doing, first of all?
I am good. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Anytime. I'm doing good. This is actually one of them episodes. It's like nostalgic because you one of the people that I had on when I first started. You remember
Yeah.
I was recording on a Walton Way back
Yep.
then.
I remember.
There wasn't no whole videos. The phone I would do my phone every now and then. That's when
Uh-huh.
podcast was just podcast, but now it's all this other stuff. So I would think about that earlier. I said, "Damn, I ain't." You've been on. You did Fire Nights. You've been around for a while. The whole
Yeah.
time. Now I think about it, the beginning, the very very beginning. So
Uh-huh.
Walton Way, Fire and Ice, the one offs. You know what I'm saying? I came and did your show when you was on Around Here Radio.
Yep.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff. Though even the dose we're gonna talk about dose bit back when it was in a closet. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Now you're doing the big clubs and stuff. So yeah, this is gonna be a nostalgic episode, I think, because when I thought about it and I said, okay, damn, what I ask? I said, damn, it's been a long time since we did a solo.
Yeah.
Every time it was like we talked about topics. I
Mm-hmm.
remember the infamous Nipsey Hussle episode me and you and Colin did, which wasn't really scheduled. You happened to be there, and then you just
Yep.
grabbed the mic and we all start talking. So how you been though?
I have been good. Things have really turned around for me. So I am in a very happy place, a very joyful place. I'm in a peaceful place. So I'm good.
You know, the last time I seen you before I judged the Dope Spit event, which we'll get into later, but it was on camera. It was on a movie, the Christmas movie, Carlton, had the premiere, and I know it's far fetched to say to me because I think you're in front of me, but when I was talking to Slim about it, I remember saying like, you know, it's funny out of all the characters, I liked your character a lot, and like even though the role wasn't like humongous out the film, it just stood out to me. I guess I'm like I seen you act for so long, just acting. Well, I don't know why. I just feel like that character was made for you for some reason. Like you just was funny. Like it was natural. I felt like you wasn't acting at all. You were just being you.
She was very flamboyant.
There you go.
I'm normally a shady character, but this one she was just like over the top. And I will have to say, because I talked to Carlton, I'm like, how do you want me to play her?
Right.
And he was like, well, I'm just sure you'll come up with something. So I was watching a bunch of movies that I felt would relate to the character I was playing. And the one actress that kept standing out to me was Jennifer Lewis. I love me some her because she don't care about her nobody feelings. She is gonna tell it like it is, whether she in character or just being herself. And I loved her, and so I was like, can I do mimic like kind of some of the things that Jennifer Lewis does? Because she was in one of them Tyler Perry movies where she was actually a wedding coordinator, and I think it was the one where Blair Underwood was in there.
Yeah, about to say, I think I've seen that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And so she was really upset about the spring in Paris theme and thought it wasn't going to be no wedding after all her hard work. So that's who I kind of modeled that character after. So.
No, I like that though. So before I get into, the question is, I guess it's been a while since you've been on Actual Morning Masters. I want to kind of get your story to the newer audience, or anybody who don't know you, even though you're a big figure out here, but anybody who may not know you, just, kind of slipped through the cracks, whatever. Tell, where you from, you know what I'm saying? How'd you get to Augusta, Georgia? These are things they don't know about you sometimes.
Well, I am from Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, born and raised. I've always been interested in the entertainment industry, especially acting. That's my first love. And then dance was my second love. And then poetry came later. But I used to like dance around the house. I used to sit in the splits comfortably, like a Chinese split. And I would mimic everything that I saw on TV. And so my mom was like, I'm going to put her in art school. And I fought her tooth and nail. I did not want to go because I wanted to go to school with my friends. I didn't want to have to make new friends. And she didn't care nothing about none of that. She was like, you going. And I went. And that's when I learned so much there. And then I was there for 3 years. And then, I went through high school because I started acting school and all that at a very young age. And then I went through high school and had a baby at 19. And
That wasn't in the script.
it was not at 19. It definitely was not. But he is an amazing young man. Now he's 21 now. He's
Yeah.
amazing. And then 9 years ago, I moved to Augusta. I needed a change. My mom had passed away. We actually coming up on the 10-year anniversary of her passing, and I just needed a change.
You actually got an event that day as well, right?
On the 10th?
I thought you got last time you said you like, oh, you said your grandmother.
No, my mom.
Oh, okay,
My mom had
I
passed.
thought at
In
the
January.
Event, okay, you said you said something in December. You having something in December, and you're like, oh, that's the day before or the day after something. I don't know. It was something to do with a death, and I was like, oh, that's. I don't know if you're gonna be able to swing that, but maybe change the date. I don't know.
The dope spit is on December 19th.
Right.
That's the day my grandma died.
Okay, I know.
Yeah.
See, I've been listening. I've been listening. You know what I'm saying?
You heard it. Okay, I appreciate you.
You know what I'm saying? I'm listening. But yeah. So I want to. I guess I'll tackle all of the art. So like, what I know you said you went to art school. I had this conversation sometimes with people, and I don't know. Maybe you could chime in on it because you lived it. Like, you know, you have a kid who you feel is immensely talented in a certain area, whether it's arts, whether it's something else, but you don't want him or her to go to public school. Mm-hmm. Well, not you don't want it, but you're debating, right? Mm-hmm. So for a parent that's thinking about it, like, should I send my kid to a school that got, I guess, quote unquote, better education, or it's supposed to be better education wise, or an art school, but they on the fence about it for whatever reason, but they feel like their kid is very immensely talented, very smart, you know, very has a chance to do something. Mm-hmm. What advice do you give them on that? I guess that dilemma they have.
If you see something in your child and you know that they could go somewhere that would nourish whatever it is you see in their child, whether it's academically, whether it's athletically, or it's arts and entertainment, whatever that may look like, because, you know, there's visual arts, there's people who write books, all kinds of stuff. Mm-hmm. But if you have the opportunity to send your child somewhere where it's going to nourish that and help them grow and make it better, then I say go for it. You know, you sit down and talk to your child. You know, with my mom, there was no talking. I'm way taller than my mom. I'm 5'9". My mom was 5 feet tall. But what she said went.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
All heights matter, man. You know what I'm saying? But, all right. I like that idea because I feel the same way. I've always been big on, like, I guess I went to public schools. I feel like it's your experience, too, you know? Mm-hmm. I always felt like, you know, when I was around kids, not arts, so to speak, but people who went to, like, these scholar schools, well, you ain't that much smarter than me. I don't know. But I always tell people it's more than just what you know. It's like the connections you get.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I look at somebody like Carlton Clay, and he went to Davidson, so he got a lot of connections just from that alone because they're all in this arts society, unspoken, just because they went to Davidson. You know what I'm saying? Or just because they went to this school, and it down the line it helps. So yeah, we might know that we both might know algebra the same, cool, but you don't know this person. I know this person because I went to this school.
Exactly.
You know? So I always look at it that way too. Speaking of knowing people and things like that, like you moved to Augusta 9 years ago, so like, what was that like? That change of scenery? Because I'm only assuming in Milwaukee, whatever life you had there, you had to leave that. So if it was arts and you was known for arts and known for acting, known for this, now you're in a new city, a new state, a new place where, they don't know who Jules is probably. Or maybe they did. I don't know. No. What was that like?
They didn't know me.
They know you now, though. But
they know me now, even though some of them don't want to, but they know me now.
So we gonna get into it. I'm playing.
But back home, I was in and out of arts, right? You know, you
describe
have
in and out.
In and out. I was still writing. I always wrote. But, you know, I was trying to be a kid. You know, I was a girl liking boys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was playing sports. I had a lot on my plate when I was in school. So I always stayed busy so I wouldn't become idle.
Can we talk about things Jules done? Like, what sports did you play?
Oh, gosh.
You played basketball?
I did. I started basketball in grade school, and I played through my senior year of high school.
Basketball?
Soccer.
Soccer. I was going to say soccer. Volleyball?
I did volleyball.
You look like you played volleyball for some reason.
I did tennis. I actually took second in city in tennis.
Okay.
I played softball.
Softball.
I used to make the newspaper for softball.
I mean, was it a sport you didn't play? Like, I feel like you were just playing all year round now. Now I feel like
I was.
Okay.
And I held down a job, and I held a 3.5 GPA.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So you did a lot.
My mom wanted excellence. So who was I not to give it to her? Because whatever I asked my mother for, she gave it to me. You know what I mean? So I was very spoiled. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I wasn't a bad kid. Now I did some stuff. You know, I used to be fighting.
I can see that too. I get the vibe sometimes. I get the vibes.
It was no questions. I'm not gonna sit up here and argue with you. I'm about to hit you. We gonna hook.
No, we can't do that.
Well, we can't do that now. But you know, when you young, you don't think about them consequences.
You're right. It's a different era. It's a different era now.
Yeah. And I mean, we used to pull up on people. We used to pop
So
up
I was
at people's
sliding?
house.
You was sliding on people?
Jobs, I sure was.
Yo, side sliding is crazy.
I don't recommend that anymore.
I don't recommend sliding either, man.
No, that's not a good thing. But yeah, I've done a lot. I used to referee basketball.
So, and I remember you telling me that. Doing all that stuff with the sports. I know you say in that arts. I feel like you was heavily in sports though.
I was up until high school.
You do know sports and arts be beefing, right? You know that, right?
Yeah.
You know who Karen Gordon is?
Do I know Karen Gordon?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you know, because she means, she's somebody in the city. I love
She is
Karen Gordon.
definitely somebody in the city.
Oh, she don't play. When I have some sports people on, she's like, "Hey man, you care about art still?" You know what I'm saying? She hit me up like, "Yeah, I care about arts, man. The next 5 people gonna be poets, I promise." So I didn't know that it was a beef with arts and sports, but I kind of got her point on it one time. She was saying like, and I don't know, it's like this Milwaukee. I mean, you from Wisconsin, it's the same thing, right? I guess yeah. I don't know. I ain't history not my favorite thing, but I know that she was saying like, okay, with sports, a kid hit a game winner, he's in the paper. You draw 30, you're in the paper. You get a scholarship to go to school, you're in the paper. But there's equivalent things as well in arts to that, to a 30-point game, to hitting a game winner, we both get scholarships for arts, but that don't be front page news.
Yeah,
and that be they beef with the whole sports and arts. So I'm just kind of throwing them down. I'm trying to see what side of the game, what side of the field you on. But high school. I mean,
I did it all. Listen, baby.
You all around. You all American.
I am, and I love every bit of it. There's so many layers to me. But she is absolutely right. As an artist, let me just say this: as an artist, there are different genres, right? All genres are not created equal.
Okay.
So singers get way more attention than poets. Hip hop artists get way more attention than poets. Comedians get way more attention than poets.
Hey, be careful now. Oh no, be careful.
I'm
agreeing though.
I'm listing them in the hierarchy.
Oh, okay.
So
it's comedians get more.
Oh yes. You ever seen a poet on a who do you think will be on a hip hop show first? A poet or a comedian?
Definitely a comedian.
Why can't a poet be there?
I agree. You're right.
So we don't get respect, right? Everybody says they love poetry. They love it. But they want you to perform at their event, but they don't want to pay you. Right? But if they hire somebody to sing, or if they want somebody to sing, if they want somebody to do comedy, if they want somebody to do hip hop, they're going to pay them, right? Painters, they don't get the respect they deserve. There are some phenomenal sketch artists, painters, drawers out here, like out of this world that make stuff jump off the canvas, right? And it look real. They don't get the respect they deserve. They need to be front page on these papers too. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So yeah, it's crazy. But I love it all. Like, and then you can break down singers into their genres, right? And which ones get more attention than the others.
True.
It's so crazy. But I mean, I don't do it for the popularity. This is just what's in my heart.
I like that. And I can tell that you don't, because a lot of things that a lot of people may complain about, you don't complain about. You just do.
Yeah.
I actually, that's funny, damn, now I think about it, rarely, if ever see you complain about the things I see people complain about that would, in our world, the entertainment kind of world, I don't see that. You just do.
Yeah, they complain about getting bookings. You ain't got to book me. I'll go put my own show on.
I'm glad, man, sorry, you talking. I'm glad you said that, man. I had, which funny you mentioned comedians. I had EJ Rogers, on Main and Slim, he had EJ Rogers on, and we were trying to all but tell him, just throw your own show, bro. Like, just throw your own. You funny, throw your own show.
Absolutely.
And you are like the poster child of that. You got, it's a few of y'all, but I know you specifically because I've watched you and I watch your growth, and I watched how you've been throwing your own. Even like I said, I joke about the closet, but you know what I mean. It was just smaller space.
It was.
I loved it though. 'Cause I'm like, I never felt it before. You know, like, and I guess we'll get into those in a second, but I never felt that before, where you go to a venue or an event or a place, and I remember going through the K's Kitchen thing, right, and having to go to the back. I felt like I was at like a Fuji's video shoot or something like that. I feel like I had to go through the, like the secret society thing in the back, where it's like, hey, this party's back here though.
Yes.
You know, and then it's like an hour of just dopeness, like talented people. You might get a rapper, you're gonna get a spoken word artist, you get you in between, and then you get the host shoot. You get comedian side, you get spoken word side,
Yep.
hostess side.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And you get all of that in just that hour.
Yep.
And I remember that, but you remember you doing it like, all right, I'm gonna do it myself. I never seen you like, yo, man, y'all ain't trying to book me. I'm doing my own show.
You ain't gotta book me. That's how Dope Spit was birthed. That's how Life Logs was birthed. Period. You don't have to book me. I'll do it myself.
Where'd that mindset come from?
My mom, the women in my family are raised. The men are loved. So women were always taught, by any means necessary, you gonna get it done. You're not gonna depend on nobody else. You're not gonna depend on no friends, no family, no man, nobody else, period. You gonna get it done. And you gonna make people see your worth and your value. And so that's just how I've always been, even as a little kid. Even when I was playing sports, my left hand wasn't worth a damn in basketball, but it was lethal in tennis. It was crazy, but I stuck with it. And I'm like, I'm going to play a sport until I find one that I absolutely love, that I'm absolutely great at. And that's what I did. I was great at basketball. I was phenomenal at softball. There wasn't a softball game that I played in that I wasn't hitting 2 home runs.
So see, and since you got that softball, since you got that sports, because now it's one thing to play sports. I'm gonna be real with you. It's one thing to play sports, but it's nothing to be good at it. All right, just being frank, which I'm gonna get to later on. But I'll make an analogy later on about that. But you being good at it, and you also being like very talented in the arts, right? From you playing sports, the praise you get in playing sports, right? Like, why you think that it's not the same praise for kids that age, or even just in general with arts? Like, what you think the difference is? I mean,
Money.
Of course, money. Okay, I can see that.
Money, that's all it is.
Generating money.
Yep.
Sports games.
Sports is a multi-billion-dollar a year industry. It's probably trillion. They make a lot of money off of young kids starting in AAU all the way up. And while the artistry, it generates money, but it don't generate sports money. You don't hear about artists, whether they're a singer, a rapper, or a poet, or whatever, getting a $100 million contract.
Right.
You will hear that about somebody stepping their first year on the NBA court.
yeah.
$100 million. You ain't proved shit. Ooh, I'm sorry. Can we
You can curse. Yeah.
You ain't proved nothing. That you could play against high school kids. When you step in the NBA, that's a whole nother level.
Yeah,
Everybody's
lights,
big.
cameras, actions, the money, they're betting on you. You getting endorsements. They ain't seen you have no kind of anything yet. We don't know what's gonna happen.
Exactly. And that's far as basketball, football. Lord have mercy. My honey keep talking about Russell Wilson because he done went over to the Broncos and he ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, man.
And everybody asking for their money back. But he's proved himself in the NFL.
Yeah, I get the analogy though.
Yeah, but like you ain't proved nothing over here except for that you can't throw a pass longer than 10 yards.
You know what's crazy too when you think about the sports, and I don't know if I just thought about this in my mind. It's crazy you think about the sports and arts. Is like in arts when you're not making or you're not producing like you used to produce, whether it's musically or whatever kind of art you do, they stop talking about you. That's just it. That's it. It's over.
What do you become? You're not relevant.
But when it's sports, you show a glimpse of maybe he's still there. It's like, you see that pass he did? It's on Sports Center. It's all over the place. Like just one little glimpse of what I used to be. But I mean, I use Lil Wayne because he raps as an example. Like, you know, for years they just said he was horrible. Like, he's not good at rapping no more. He puts some good music out or some good verses out. They really talk about it no more. They don't say nothing. Just like whatever. They wrote him off kind of like, you know. But I'll use, let's say LeBron, whatever. He might not play the best, but then he have a 25-point game, 30-point game. It's like, oh, he's still a king, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, sports. There's definitely a beef with sports and arts I've seen, and I think I see people that really love arts. They really don't like that. They don't like it a lot. But you athletes, you all around. So I wondered. I guess now I can tell you do. I wonder if you ever noticed that beef because you kind of were best of both worlds. Right now you're in more arts, of course, but you grew up in playing both. So
I grew up in
very neutral
sports, but to be honest, I hadn't paid any attention.
You know why? Because you're good in both. So you don't see it.
I don't, and I don't listen to those conversations. Yeah, I have not seen those conversations or heard that.
It's not like a whole group of it. It's just that when I talk to Karen, because she's heavy, I don't think she plays sports. Her thing is arts and arts only. That's it. I don't care about that other stuff. I just want arts to get the respect it deserve, and I agree with it. You know, but I love sports too. But I definitely agree with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I try to balance it out when I'm doing it. You know.
I mean, everybody is entitled to love what they love heavily.
Definitely.
So if you giving a little bit more attention to sports, I ain't gonna be mad at you.
It just, you know, people they reach out too, like, you know, and I don't know, maybe you could speak to this. Artists these days, like they have this thing. I don't know. I feel like they want to be gotten instead of getting with. They want to, like, it's not like the booking thing. They want to get booked instead of booking. So instead of them hitting me up or hitting somebody for interviews, they expect us to reach out and like, hey,
entitled.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
And they're not artists.
So
let's be clear. They're aspiring. And I'm
Can
not.
you be aspiring and be entitled?
Yeah, because it's being done in 2022. They about to take this attitude, this whole mentality in 23. But and I just had this conversation earlier today with somebody. Like, I call them aspiring artists because you have to prove yourself in order to earn the title as artist. Right? Which means, as the kids be saying, get it out the mud, right? You can't, if you in the studio, right, and you done did a whole album, but nobody knows you. Nobody wants the album because nobody's asking for it, because nobody knows you. Right? But you put it out and you like, well, y'all ain't listening to my music. We didn't know you did music. Right? Yeah, but you ain't did no shows. What was happening back in the 80s and the 90s when they put out an album? What they do? They had a whole tour set up, right? To get people to know who they were and to learn their music, right? And a lot of them did those tours for free because nobody knew them, and that's where you have to start. Jules didn't start getting paid for shows right out the gate. I had to prove myself here, right? But a lot of people these days, this younger generation that's coming up, they don't feel like they have to put in dues. And you can kill it in the booth. I'm not saying that you ain't got talent. I mean, you could kill it. But when you step on the stage, it's crickets because you don't know how to connect to your audience, right? And so people like me, people like Swag, people like Dorian, we offer counseling. And I don't know if Dorian so much, but I know Swag.
He OG, so he offered off the strength.
Exactly.
Him being OG, I know he gonna offer some kind of support,
because he gave it to me, right? And he still gives it to me, right? Like, he gives me so many jewels and gems. I love it. I love that about him because I'm always in a position to learn. And these people that are coming up now, they don't feel like they have to learn anything. They don't want artist development. You're not an artist.
That's a thing I feel like need to be a thing and come back as a thing for real, because that's one thing I think. I don't care if you do podcasts, I don't care if you just do talk show, I don't care whatever you do. That development piece is super important in any form, any career, any path, anywhere.
One of the greatest actors of all time, arguably, right? It probably ain't even no argument. Denzel Washington.
Definitely.
Do you know what he does to keep his skills sharp?
What's that?
He does stage plays. He's still this man makes multi-millions of dollars per film. He doesn't have to work anymore, but he loves
established.
It. Exactly.
Has the right to be entitled.
Does not have to audition for any role he gets, but in order to keep his skills sharp, he still takes classes. He still does theater. And people acting like they ain't got to do that. This man is way up here, right?
Yeah.
And y'all way down there.
If you're being real, yeah.
and you don't want to get development, please, I sit down with OGs all the time.
You know, even on the development piece, you talking about just anything. You got people who are, like I said, up there in that plateau, at the top of the top, like the top tier people. And I'm even thinking on a local level where people feel entitled to do anything. And it's like you do realize there's people that's like way more established and way more and can be entitled, has the right to be entitled, that aren't entitled. But for some reason, you feel like you should be entitled within this 20, 25-mile radius.
And it's crazy. It's craziness. Do you know it's a bunch of the OGs right here in the city, right? And then in the surrounding areas. We have conversations all the time. And I don't consider myself an OG, right? Because I've only been performing here since 2016. But my resume says otherwise.
You've been banging on your life. I know you've been banging in Augusta since, but you've been banging on your life. You good, man. You're OG. You're OG.
But to me, it's humbling to sit at the table with these individuals, right, that started this thing here and still get schooled, right? Because I walk in and I'm like, yeah, I'm Jules, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they get to saying something like, I didn't know that. Oh man, that makes so much sense. I didn't see it that way, right? So then I'm dropping this whole Jules persona, and I'm like, bruh, I can learn. I can still learn, and that's what I do. I grow and I learn. I'm always hitting up so and so and so and so. I'm like, hey, we need a meeting,
Right?
Because I need to know how to do this, or what I can do better, or help me fix this. You know what I mean? And then I take what they tell me to do, and it comes out so much better.
How important is it, just for, anybody in that field, but the arts world, just if you are OG, not an OG, if you inspire, not inspired, entitled, not entitled, to have that that wherewithal to always be ready to learn?
It's extremely important, because if you don't, you're going to lose touch. And then you're going to become what they deem is not relevant, right? You're going to be an afterthought, if you're even a thought.
What if like people feel like they're too good to learn? Like, I know it already. I know it all.
Yeah, those people fail. They fail. Case in point, some people told me that, oh, I can do an open mic better than you. Okay, go do it. It didn't even last one whole show.
That's the shady side you talking about. I see it in you now. But I like that, though. I like that. I like how you did that. I set you up real good. That was good. I like that. I like that.
Hey, when you throw me the alley-oop, I gotta finish it. I'm just
still
saying.
a basketball more. I like that though. That was dope. But I mean, in arts, that's the thing. I think that's one thing. So when you talk about sports and arts, there's one thing I can't say about arts. I think people see, which is so crazy. People see arts, and I feel like arts and sports are the same. I'm making an assumption. We'll build on it later though, but I feel like it's the same, because you got to put the same amount of work in, regardless of what. You might not sweat that much, so to speak, in art. But you might go in a hot venue. You never know. You will sweat, but
Right.
on your day to day, it's not. Maybe it's strenuous, but it's with the mind. It's energy. It's creating. You know what I'm saying? That take a lot. And I say that to say like as far as like when somebody's watching basketball or football, whatever, I don't think people automatically say, oh, I can do that. They feel like they amazed. Oh my God, wow, wow. But then when it's arts, I feel like people are like, oh, I could do that. Don't worry, I could do that in a sec. And I don't know why you're just not wild. When I went to even when I judged your dope spit recently, which I know we're gonna get to in a second. When I judged yours recently, like I went home and I was inspired. I was like, yo, that was hard work to me. Even just judging it was hard. I'm like, damn, like I want to give everybody a 10. You know, I kind of want to give everybody a 10. I ain't gonna lie. I want to give everybody a 10. It was a few missteps. I'm like, damn, they ain't even stutter.
Yeah.
You know, Brother Trav, which, like I said, I always know him for a different kind of work. He had one when he talking about his Johnson and all that stuff. I was like, whoa. That's a 10 performance, though. Like, I didn't know he had it. I'm not saying he had it in him, but I didn't know he had that kind of material.
You never heard him perform
Yeah,
that.
never heard him.
Yeah.
I was like, God, that's all right, man. You know, all right. And I never thought like, oh, I could do that. Mm-hmm. You know what I do? I try sometimes. I might sit down, the pen and paper. You know, I'm like, all right. I started doodling. I can't draw either, mind you. So I'd rather just draw, but I can't do that. But I look at it the same way. I don't look at art and say, oh, I can just do that. I think that take a special kind of human being, in my opinion. It take a special type of skill. You got to dig into a special part of your body to pull that kind of creativity out.
Yeah.
And I feel like, just going what you said about I have my own dose, but I can throw my own this or whatever, throw my own art thing. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not that easy.
It's not. It's not.
Even if you just buy the venue, it's not that easy.
People think, okay, so to compare sports and artistry, right? The gym is the sports world. That's where they get their training, right?
Yeah.
And for arts, the world is our gym.
Right.
Everything around us inspires us. We're wired so different, right? Yeah. People are like, well, that comedian made a joke about this. It's not funny, but they see it differently, and there's a joke in everything.
And it's funny to somebody.
Yeah, because I have a warped sense of humor. And trust and believe, I'm going to probably laugh at the most inappropriate thing at the most inappropriate time.
The funniest jokes, man. I'm telling you, those are the funniest jokes.
Yes.
And that's why people like me and you got a special group of friends. We can't be around everybody.
Yes.
If I'm in a serious place, don't be around me because I'm going to make a joke and you're not going to like it. So just go sit somewhere else.
Do not sit next to me in a funeral because I'm definitely going in.
Now, and I'll say this though, right? So, like you said, different people see things different ways. Mm-hmm. So obviously, if it's a close relative of mine, yeah, all right, I'm not going to joke. But if it ain't,
whatever.
Hey,
Yes, I am. And yes, I have.
I can't
yes, I have.
I can't do it.
Listen, nobody's off limits to these jokes, period. I don't care how y'all feel about it. I don't care. My mom was at my cousin's funeral, and I cracked hella jokes on my mama because she was like, oh. What? Nobody knows what you're saying. You get 2 minutes for remarks. It took you 2 minutes to go, oh.
She was
God rest my mama, because she is, she's gone now. And then I had my great aunt, she gave the whole Black Power fist, and it was ashy.
Her fist was ashy.
It was ashy. And she had on a purple suit with a blue hat.
You ain't giving them their products?
Well, I wasn't making these at the time.
Ah, man.
These was years ago. At my uncle's funeral, God rest his soul, his brother got up and proceeded to think he was David Ruffin of the Temptations. Oh, he got these jokes. He did. And I got up there and said, like, don't do that again.
Hey, book side for your funerals. You want everybody to laugh. You know what I'm saying? If it's a sad funeral, you want everybody to laugh. Book side Jules for the funeral, please.
Yeah, book me. Because everybody's going to get these jokes, period.
Even the person in the casket, maybe.
Yes.
Book side Jules.
Yeah, when my mom passed, I was like, why y'all got her looking like that?
Oh, yeah, you're a wild one.
It was a problem. It was a problem for me.
You're a wild one.
Yes. But listen, she did look messed up. I didn't
Yo, what's
like
up?
it.
Why you still? I'm
sorry.
I'm thinking of segues, and you just go. So dope spit, right?
Okay, going back to, because I really got off task. Going back to comparing the two. Mm-hmm. So the world is an artist's oyster, right? We pick up everything, and we look at things so different. You may see this mic is black, but an artist is going to describe that in grave detail, right? To bring the mic to life. That's just how we see things. And that's how we exercise our brain, which is our muscle, right? That's our creativity. But yeah, and you mentioned about like booking events or doing events or whatever with open mics. People think that it's literally just get in the venue. No. Where the money gonna go? Who gonna work the door? How much you gonna price your ticket so that you can at least break even with your expenses, but then stay in line with the pockets of your consumers, right? Who you gonna get to host your event? Are you gonna have a DJ? Because you can't just play Pandora all night. And if you are, you got speakers?
Don't let DJ Swag hear you say that, man. He don't play the app stuff. Book a DJ.
Book a DJ. I highly recommend. When Dope Spits first started, we did not have a DJ. And thank God when we came back in 2021, DJ Swag was on board with us. So we have a DJ now, but like we've grown, right? But people think it is so easy. Now you got to find the talent. Are you going to have food? Are you going to have liquor? Um, are you going to pay people? Who you going to pay? If you having an open mic, do the open mic artists pay? You got to be prepared to face what comes with charging an open mic artist who feels like they're entitled to be on the flyer and to not pay in their whole entourage, which is all of 2 at max.
Chill out.
Get in free. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm just speaking the truth. If you could see,
Hey, 2 being an entourage is wild, but it's that big word for the 2 people.
2, an entourage of 2. But them and being entitled to whatever, right? And then I'm only giving you like the main things. You're not thinking about the little things, your inbox and your email going off with weird questions. Like, when is it gonna be? Did you see the flyer? Did you see it? Because the time is on there. Or they hit you up and they don't even greet you. It's, yo, I want to perform. I have stopped explaining. I either do one of 2 things. I ignore you or I say, okay. If they come back and say something else, so what I need to do? First of all, you need to say hello.
You sound like me at the drive-thru.
You need to say hello. I tell them all the time, professionalism goes a long way.
Yeah.
And then
Definitely.
they want to, when you don't give them exactly what they want and say it how they want, now they want to blast you. Now they want to make a whole post about you. Post away.
But it also goes back to just saying about the whole professionalism go a long way because how many times things happen. I mean, we behind the scene. We'll talk about it in a second too. It's going to be good. We behind the scene. We see a lot of behind the scenes stuff. A lot of stuff that happen that won't come to the light because of quote unquote professionalism. You know what I'm saying? But what happens is that also empowers you to work with others in the future because they didn't see how unprofessional you probably could have got.
Right.
You know? And I think it all go back to what I was saying earlier about the whole schooling thing sometimes too. And I think in public school, it's just public. It's public schools, you know. It's just, hey, we go to school, that's it, right? When you do go to them fine arts, you do go to them schools that's specified in this business, you learn professionalism, you learn that stuff because they tell you, hey, this is what you're gonna see. If you're as good as we think you are, if you're as good as we think you are, you'll see this. So this is how you conduct yourself in this manner. If this happens, how you conduct yourself.
Absolutely.
And so that's a good point you just made out. That whole thing was a good clip though. Like I was gonna ask you about, you know, what goes into like, you know, throwing, or not even just throwing, but trying to book an event because you do it. You committed to a certain day of a certain month for every month.
Yep.
And I don't think you can get to that point of committing without a certain level of commitment on your end.
Yes.
With those things, with those questions, answers to those questions you asked.
Yes, and it's taxing. What do you do when your feature hits you up the day before and they can't make it? They coming from out of town. What do you do when your feature hits you up 2 hours before the event and says they can't make it? You know what I mean? You always have to have a backup plan.
And I think from watching you, I've seen where not even just the features so much, because I think I've never had that experience when I came to any of your events, but I've seen where people who signed up didn't show up.
Don't say nothing. And then have the audacity, I mean the unmitigated gall to hit you up for the next one and go, and don't say nothing, right? Never told you that they weren't coming. When they hit you up for the next one, like, hey, I'm trying to get on the list. No, you can try all you want because you didn't tell me anything in regards to why you didn't show up last time.
No professionalism at all.
None. I cut people, because the open, and this is another thing people have to understand, the open mic list don't go on forever because we're not going to be there all night.
Right.
So max, your open mic list going to be like 10 people. My show starts on time. Anything that I am doing, it starts on time because I like to go home. I'm an introvert extrovert, which means I extrovert when I have to perform, but other than that, I'm ghost, right?
For real.
So I want to be at home. So we cut the open mic list off after a certain number. And so when people hitting me up after we've reached that number, I'm telling them, oh, well, you know, we've reached our max. So we're not accepting anybody else. I can start a reserve list just in case somebody doesn't come, right? So then they were like, okay, yeah, put me on the reserve list, right? And then let's say somebody dropped off the original list, like after we get to the event, right? So now I got this reserve list, and the person on the reserve list don't even show up.
Oh wow.
Why? Because they weren't on the original list. And that's another thing. If you really are serious about your craft, it's not just about you on stage. You have to get out to the different events and you have to network. You have to connect. Because how are people supposed to know who you are? So you don't want to show up because you're not on an open mic list. But you could show up and connect with somebody else that's there. They may be doing an event, they may know about another event, or this will look good for you. So when you talk to me at this event, I'll make sure you're number one on the next one, right? But they don't think about that. I'm always thinking and this is the legal side of me because I was a paralegal for a very long time. So this is the legal side of me. So, and people don't think about things like that.
Well, I asked that question because like I've also seen you improvise so much when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, you are an artist yourself, so either you feeling. I've seen you do dose of it. You feeling about 4 or 5 times. I'll say one. You know what I'm saying? And you on cue, and you giving the same amount of energy. You're not slacking off. And you're still hosting. And then you go to the next thing. Then you go into the next thing. I didn't see you up there sweating. I didn't see you practice and be in the gym sweating. That's what that is to me.
Woo.
I didn't seen that, and not miss a beat. So, like I said, it take a certain level of professionalism and a certain level of just business character to continue to do that, and then still not talk bad about whatever artist didn't show up or that. You just say, oh, this person, hey, okay, cool. Next thing, you don't sit there and drag them. I like that. I like that a lot. But for the listener, because anybody that's watching, they know you. But let's talk about Dope Spit and how it originated and why.
Okay. Dope Spit came about when I first moved here. There were some open mic shows going on. I remember I went to see Catherine the Great over at Mad Studios. I went to see her twice, and then that ended, because of personal reasons with her. And I was like, man, ain't no other shows going on. And so 2016 came. I did life vlogs, and I said, I really want to be able to go to an open mic. But again, I was really new to the art scene here. I had been here for a few years, but I hadn't performed at all here. And I said, I had a PR person. Mm-hmm. She didn't know of anything. The only thing that was going on was Salmon and Grits, and that was annual. So that wasn't monthly. And I was like, I really want to do something monthly. And I know Dorian had Mahogany Lounge, and I think it was getting ready. It was on a hiatus or something like that.
Gotcha.
So I was with a couple of other poets, hanging tough with them for a little bit. And I was like, we should do a open mic once a month. Well, at the time it was going to be twice a month. And, at first, there was no, it's not going to work. We've already done that. And I was like, it'll work. It just takes consistency. You have to show the people. And so we did the first one in April of 2017. Mm. It was a rainstorm that day. Power lines were down, trees were down, and we had a packed house. I didn't think nobody was coming.
What?
But them people showed up for Dope Spit. The open mic was dope. The audience was dope. We was at Humanity House, the old one.
The old one,
yeah. And so it was awesome. I loved it. But then doing it twice a month was just a little too much. Again, I reached out to an OG and he said you might just need to scale back to once a month.
Just from a fan perspective, right? And now me talking to you more and more, I see why. I always get frustrated that it's only so many times a month.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. If it's up to me, it'd be once a week. If it was up to me. But I know it's a lot that go into that. And
it's a lot.
It's a time, time ain't on our side a lot of times with that kind of stuff. But now me hearing you talk about it, how it originated and what goes into it, I kind of see why it's just how you have it versus once a week. I'm like, why she end up every week? Because but the vibes be
it's
there.
It's hard to find a feature once a month.
True.
If we try to and let's be clear, I'm looking your everybody is not feature ready. Okay.
There we go. It is shadiness.
No, but that's me being real.
That's realness. That's
honest.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they're not good. I'm just saying everybody's not feature ready, which means you can't pack out a house yet. right? Not enough people are following you that are willing to come out and pay to see you, right? You don't promote it enough. And I know that because in my booking contract there's a clause in there for me promoting, right? You get a certain amount of promotion from me. I'm going to promote myself regardless.
Right.
But if you want me to post something every day, that's in my booking contract, and you have to pay me for that. Which is what, A-list celebrities, they get paid. That's in their contract too if they promote. You don't see a whole lot of A-list celebrities promoting their projects because it's not in their contract to do so. But a lot of people think that they're feature ready, and they're just not. They don't know how to connect to the audience, right? And then a lot of them aren't doing work. When was the last time you stepped on a stage? Stop telling me you're retired. Retired from what? And I'm not even like, you laugh. I'm not even trying to be funny. These are conversations that I've had, and I've told these people, like, you're not ready. What are you retiring from? Every week you on the book or some sort of social media platform complaining about the people in the city not coming to see you. They don't have anything to come see you at because you haven't booked anything, right? You think you're too good for open mics. And that's just asinine to me because I still go perform at open mics, and I'm not saying that I'm up here, but I'm not down there either.
You're OG.
And then even if I don't perform at an open mic, I'm still gonna go to the show. Because that's inspiration, right? And that's getting things to moving around in my head, like, oh, okay, this is what people are talking about. You know what I mean? So now I can go write about that and how it correlates to my life, right? So people be wanting something and they not there.
But even at the open mics, I mean, even if you get inspiration from what's there. Sometimes the love you get while you there, it's like, damn, I need to do something or whatever. But you find that talent too, and as an OG, you can help mold and help people as well. Like, I don't know if people care about that no more, the development part, but
at all.
When I see people that I feel like are talented, like, damn, let me give them some pointers. If I feel like I'm at a place where I done seen that level before, let me help you get to the next level. I can help you get to that one at least. I might get you to the top, but I can get you above where you at, put like that,
Right.
And then hopefully you keep finding people on and on that feel the same way and help you do that. But you won't know unless you go to them places.
You will not know.
It's like almost like I said, I'm going back to sports. Like you playing ball or whatever. Like, you're not going to know if there's talent in that neighborhood until you go to the neighborhood park. You know, you can't always go to the gym, this high school, this college gym. It's cool. It's nice talent there too, but. Go back to the root. Go back to the park. Go back there. Yep. You'll see the next thing, next person. You know what I'm saying? That person can develop. So it's the same way. I think open mics should be treated as such. Like, open mics are like pickup games.
They are.
And those are very important. Even NBA players play pickup games. So when somebody say open mic as if it's underneath them, I'm not gonna lie. It raises a red flag to me that either you aren't putting in the work that you say you're putting in, or you're just not willing to put the work in that you say you're putting in, or you're not as good as you think you are. I don't know.
They're all of that.
And I think basketball is all of that most times. Like, oh, you don't want to play because you scared that person going to be better than you on the court. Because anybody that's confident, they doing open mics, they doing pickup games.
Yes,
they love it. Matter of fact, they want to show you I'm this good.
Yeah, it keeps your skills sharp.
Yep.
It proves a point to yourself and to the people. If there were any doubters for you, right? I know so many OGs that still step on a mic somewhere. They're not booked, period. They go and they be like, I'm coming through because, you know what I mean, I got some stuff I need to give. They might be testing out new material.
Yeah.
Right? They might be testing out different ways to connect to the audience. It's so many different elements that go with that. And I think that nobody's above training. Nobody's above teaching. Nobody's above growth and development. But a lot of these people, they don't want to get on nobody's open mic, and they just want to get on a flyer. Screw that flyer. What that mean? What the flyer mean?
Well, I think with a lot of artists too, we in that hate using this term, but that's how it be. It's like that social media era, which means the era of a lack of a lot of other things.
Yeah,
based on
social
I'm gonna
skills.
post this social. The irony of that, right? We in a social media era, no social skills, but. It's the wanting to fly, but not wanting what come with being on a flyer.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's a lot of things. Can you pack a house out? Do you have a following? Do you post a lot? Are you putting that work in? People want to be considered to be. I think it's that consideration at the end of it be. And I hate to keep bringing it up, but I'm gonna just go ahead because you from right here too. We had the war stuff show and everything. People was in the feelings about that, but like I was saying on mine, I said I don't foresee myself as just the best podcast in the world. But don't get me wrong, I'll play some video games. I'll go anybody podcast and talk because I feel like I'm like that, so I'm gonna do it right. But at the same time, I do feel like. Yeah, some people that probably didn't make the list, they was mad. I'm like, well, I'm kind of glad they didn't, because I wouldn't want to be labeled with them, because I feel like we don't have the same, we don't have, we don't do the same things, to say that. We don't say the same things. So I
It's
feel
like Fruit Loops and Fruit Rounds, right?
Yeah, generic brand. Hey, what can I say?
Main is Fruit Loops.
I'm
And then
definitely
here come
Fruit
these
Loops.
Fruit Rounds.
Definitely General
Like,
Mills.
no. But yeah,
Definitely.
people, man, that whole SBA, IHA, I think it was IHA.
Yep.
That whole, the people just, this is how I feel about it. If your people rock with you the way you say they do, then why in the hell didn't they nominate you?
True enough.
Plain and simple. And if you saying your people didn't know about it, but you did, why didn't you send it to them and tell them to nominate you? Everybody can't be on everything. Everybody can't win everything. It's not your season.
But and the thing is, that go back to the professional thing I'm talking about, because talking about when you go and get upset and you frustrate and you leash your frustrations like that, you go into the unprofessional bag. You go into the, I feel like before you be unprofessional, see if you can learn from whatever's going on. Like what aren't you doing that those people are doing? And also, but at the same time, you can't really compare yourself, because then you still enjoy from yourself as well. So sometimes it's just like you said, you're not out there yet. You're not doing everything you think you're doing yet, or not consistent enough. Like you said, when you first started Dose, they was telling you like it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. If you had none of that, you wouldn't be here right now.
5 years later.
And even that, because what people don't know is COVID messed a lot of stuff up, because it wasn't good for a long time. And during that time, which I didn't get to know names, but during that time, it was a lot of Fruit O's. You know what I'm saying? Of those fish. See, I be keeping up of those fish. You know what I'm saying? Fruit Loops is back. All right, Fruit Loops is back, so I'm happy with that. But I noticed that I'm like, damn, because sometimes it's like, and the dope thing about those fish is like, it's one of the closest. I'm saying one, okay, I haven't been to every event, but to me, it's one of the closest feelings you'll get. And I don't know if you like this movie or not, because arts people like certain things, don't like certain things. I feel like Love Jones, right?
I knew you was going to say
And I only say that because I never been, and most artists do, which I can understand, because most sports guys hate certain movies that people might love. Like Mike, oh, what the hell? I don't like that. It's not a basketball movie. I get it. So, and I get it for you being in arts, like that's not a real arts movie. It's a facade of what art is, But for the people that don't know that, that's not in that world, that's the closest thing they get to. But then you realize how it really, really is, And even like saying being in a room, seeing somebody who do this all the time mess up, that's rough to see.
Man,
they get pissed off because it's real. This is just showing. It's not. You don't get the camera's always rolling for artists. It's not like you can't just put a highlight video and think that's it. No. People are like, oh yeah, that looked good, but I remember I saw him bomb. I remember I saw him mess up. I remember I saw he couldn't get through that poem that one time. He kept forgetting.
I featured in Columbia a few years ago at Bugsy's event, right? And I had been featuring like nonstop twice a week for about 6 months, right? I was all over the Southeast, right? And when and I always say a prayer before I touch anybody's stage, right? I could not remember my signature piece to save my life, which is Respected.
What?
I always open up my set with this piece. Boy, I got halfway through it and could not remember what came next. And so I was like, you know what? I apologize. So I went on to another poem. And I tried to come back to Respected. And I'll be damned. And the same thing happened.
Damn.
I was so embarrassed. But that's the nature of the beast. You know what I mean? It didn't stop nothing for me. I was still getting bookings, but it's the nature of the beast. And I had this one poet that I used to be cool with. He was a beast on the mic. And he had this one poem that I just love so much. But he started going through things and he was performing it. It was his signature piece. He was performing it this one time and he could not get it. And I was just, my heart dropped because he got so mad on stage and he showed it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can't show it. You got to keep going. You know what I mean? Like when I couldn't get my poem, I just went to the next piece.
But you know, it's almost it's like for as a spectator and just a fan of it. If and I know I get it from your point of view, but like for me seeing somebody get upset, I'm kind of feeling a little more because I feel like damn he has something, but and I don't know if that's like a mechanism like let me show my frustration so y'all know I really got it. I just can't can't deliver, you know.
Right.
Other than it's either that or feel embarrassed, you know. And men don't want to feel embarrassed a lot of times, so you just you know. I seen Bruce one time. he lift weights and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think he couldn't do something or whatever. He messed up somewhere. Something and I can see him. It was live. I can see him just get mad. It's like he would just blow, throwing stuff. I'm like, yeah, I feel it because he know he can lift that. I just couldn't do it this time for some reason. And like, yeah, and that's what arts people don't see in the arts. And I like that too. Like being able to see that. That's why them events, those places is dope because. You can look at an open mic, whatever you want to look at it, pickup game, whatever. But it's real, regardless, none of the fact, and it's on your record because somebody's gonna say, "I seen that."
Yep. It's raw and uncut.
You know,
and you don't get to push pause. You don't get to rewind it. You don't get to cut and edit. None of that. That's real and raw in real time. That's why I love open mics. I love them. They give such amazing energy.
What do you think about yours? Like those that makes that is so successful? Because like I said, it's not a lot of them, but it's other ones, of course. But like I said, and I've been to a few, but the open mic, those bits is I like spoken word though. Like I feel like I don't know if yours is more geared toward that only, but I see a lot of that there. I've seen rappers there. I've seen people come there and do stuff, and it's funny when I see rappers there. I remember it. I don't know what it is about. I be remembering the stuff from there. Mm-hmm. There was a guy who came on one time. He rapped. I don't know his name, but he rapped, and I seen him at Culture Fest one year too. And then he rapped the song that he rapped there. Mm-hmm. It was about child support or something like that, or something like that. Yes, Hayes. Yeah, that's who it was. Yep, sure enough. And I was like, I remember him. Just the song I had. I'm like, I know that song was somewhere. Mm-hmm. Oh, Dope. I remember seeing him there. You know what I'm saying? Even the spectators, I see him out and like, oh, what's up? You still be going to Dope Spit? I was like, yeah, I be going. She had icons now. This, that, and third. So like, it's a feeling there that leaves the room, but don't leave the room. If that makes sense. Like it's you feel like you're there all the time.
Yeah, my goal is as the host, cause I don't perform at Dope Spit unless I have to fill a void for people who didn't show up on the open mic, right? My goal for Dope Spit was to make it a platform about the artist. Mm-hmm. This is your opportunity to showcase whatever it is you say you can do and for you to bring your people because I can't reach your people, right? And I want everybody to feel welcome when they touch that stage. So that's why we don't boo people. We don't talk about people. We're not malicious or anything like that. So it's a vibe. And it's a very good vibe. And that I guess that's why people kind of do gravitate to it. I have people come to Dope Spit every month. They drive about an hour and some change to get there. That's love for me.
I was gonna say every time I went, you've had somebody, whether it's a feature or just I've seen just signees. Like I'm from Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Like, whoa.
Yeah, I love it. Like
I'm putting work in. It's so the nerve of somebody. Think about this, right? The nerve of somebody. I don't care if they from here or whatever. The nerve of somebody feeling like, it's just an open mic. I don't feel like da. The nerve of you, and you got somebody from Atlanta, which is the capital of just
oh my gosh,
culture right now. Culture in just the United States. It's Atlanta right now.
Yes.
They're driving from there to come to Augusta, 2.5 hours, whatever, depending on how you drive, however long you drive, you know what I'm saying? They coming here for a pickup, quote unquote, pickup game, right?
Yes.
To get the respect amongst other artists. But then you have somebody in this 25-mile radius, whatever, that feel like, nah, man, I need to get booked. I need this, I need that. And I'm not saying get your coins, but I'm just saying put that into perspective.
And the crazy thing is, them artists that come from Atlanta, that drive them 2 hours and some change, those are national slam winners, champions. They travel with this thing. Their fees start off is like $1,000.
Yep.
Right? But they came to Dope Spit to get on the open mic. And I'm like,
It don't get no more pickup game than that, bro. Like I'm gonna show y'all what I'm about.
Exactly, and love it. And we still in connection with each other to this day. We talk not every day, but we talk. They invite me, I invite them. Like it always jives and it works so well. At the beginning of the year, we had 2 poets back to back feature from Atlanta. And they brought people with them. Yep. You know what I mean? In Augusta, you can't bring nobody with you.
I know, right? Just a neighbor.
Y'all couldn't carpool.
Your entourage of 2 people.
Okay, the whole entourage. But it's just it boggles my mind. It's mind blowing that people just feel so entitled and like everybody else is beneath them. Mm-hmm. I don't care what your presence is on social media. Them people don't know you.
Right.
Them people can't touch you, but it's safe. Social media is safe. You can say and do whatever you want.
I also I gained a lot of respect, more respect for you. Not that I had the utmost, but get more, of course, because like you just said, you don't necessarily perform unless you have to at your own event, which you could, of course, mm-hmm. right? If you wanted to, you could be the artist that's like, hey, it's me. Here goes Side Jules real quick. Mm-hmm. You could do that. You don't, but you've also gotten better at hosting because now I think back then, from what I saw, at least last time, like when it was a gap, I'm gonna just jump in real quick. But now I see you just pace the crowd, you do little jokes here and there, mm-hmm. where your stage presence. I mean, that's stuff I noticed the last time, just being there. I'm gonna judge you. I'm gonna give you a 10. I'm gonna give her a 10 for hosting. Swag a 10 for taking the jokes. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I be getting them, don't I?
Nah, you got them that night. You got them that night. But I want to talk about that, mm-hmm. if you don't mind. Now I want to get into some other stuff too. But I want to talk about just that event because that's what I saw, like, obviously, the most growth, because it's been almost a year and some change since I had been to a dose, but I feel like every time I always work on Mondays. That's it's going to happen. My business work is, I have to work every Monday. Do I always open? No, but especially now I work in Aiken, it's definitely harder. Mm-hmm. So when I watched it, I'm like, damn, this is, I just felt like I felt like it was a VIP area anyway. But the talent there, I don't know if you always do that kind of event, the judging thing, or I don't know if you always do that, but that was, I don't know if I can't tell you what to do, but we need more slams. I'm not Dose Pit. I love Dose Pit, of course, 'cause I like what it offer, but that slam is like I can feel every artist, not only wanted to win, but every artist knew I could lose too, and that you don't see that a lot at events, any sports or whatever. You don't see that a lot. Most time it's just cockiness. I'm gonna win. Mm-hmm. I felt the cockiness, but I also felt like I seen the respect there amongst peers. I mean, you had a wife and a husband, there, but I felt that like, this person could win. This person could take me out.
Oh yeah.
And the hardest thing to me, I don't know if you spoke to Dorian or anybody other judge. I don't know her name, but you spoke to her. The hardest round was that sudden death round.
Yeah.
And let me tell you about your hosting. Let me tell you what you did. You were wild. You was like, all right, y'all, we got a tie. I'm going to call them up there. You called them up here, and you left. You just left the stage. Like, best person win. You gave them a small room and said, all right, best person win. And I just felt like they was like, all right, cool. Like almost like 3 tigers and lions just about to see who can get the last piece of meat. And that's what it felt like, too. And I felt like every artist, like, it almost went in the first one won that round, though, but like, they all went hard. Yeah. Out of them 3, I felt like one of them 3 were gonna win the whole thing anyway. Mm-hmm. So no respect to Bugsy or Travis like that, but I felt like that sudden death round gave me the win of the whole thing. That now I'm looking at it in retrospect, I was like, damn, it's gonna be hard to judge, and sure enough, it damn sure was. I mean, nobody messed up, nobody stumbled. It was nothing. It was just purely like, yo, what you like more? What content you like more? It was like Then the girl started singing. I was like, oh, she could sing. Mm-hmm. I knew like she showed every single thing I would like in the artist. She showed it like every round. Then that was sudden death. It was like, all right, come on, just stop it. Like, I know you could rhyme. Okay, you got the flow. You got the stage presence. You got the joke. She had everything you could just check off. Yeah, every single thing you was checking off. And then she sung. I'm like, man, she could hit notes.
Listen,
that was crazy.
Dope Spit is we're doing slams twice a year.
I need that.
The pots will grow. So the next pot is going to be bigger. This one was $250, so it's going to be bigger. We'll do it in the spring and in the fall. Because we like the idea of somebody having the opportunity of winning some holiday money to go Christmas shopping or whatever by Thanksgiving dinner. And then the spring, we like the idea of being able to take your kids somewhere or you go somewhere just for spring, you know what I mean? Because you've been working all year, whatever have you. So we're definitely gonna do that. Slams, that's not something you can just walk into.
Definitely can't.
You have to prepare yourself, which means you got to be on your A game, right? And if you forget the words to your poem, you got to still keep going. And the audience cannot know, the judges cannot know. It has to be fluid, right? Slams are the playoffs.
Definitely. It
And
definitely felt like the playoffs. It felt like it felt like Sweet 16, like because really you don't get a chance to win another game. That's it.
That's it.
You go, you lose, you got a bad shot. That's it. You're done. You might have to go sit down for the rest of the night.
Exactly.
It's a game every single time.
Sit with me. Come watch the game with me.
Definitely. That's what it felt. It felt like nobody went to sit down. Nobody. That was a tough thing to judge, man.
Yeah.
Dorian's a cool guy. He's so cool because he was like, I'm like, yo, how you doing?
I can't. So chill with everything.
That's why I was thinking something. I'm like, hold on now. Then I felt like I was giving the highest score. I'm like, y'all not excited about what they doing? But I forget he's an artist as well, so he's seeing from an artist standpoint as well. I'm not seeing from that. I'm just in awe, like.
And we were strategic in picking judges,
too, yeah.
right? We needed at least one person who knew about the community very well, the artistry very well, right? Yeah. So then you got Dorian, and then we wanted some media there. Even though you weren't doing media coverage, but you talked to artists, right?
Well, not yet, because like I said, I got interviews coming up. I added everybody from there.
Well, I'm talking about you weren't doing media there.
No.
So, and you interview people all the time, right? And then we wanted somebody who just likes to go out to a show every now and again, which was Dee. She likes to go out and listen to the artist every now and again to shows. She's enjoyment. So we needed different people. Right. And y'all were literally like I made the joke, but y'all were our Simon Cowell, Paula Abdul, and Randy Jackson. But I mean, and that's what we needed, right? Slams ain't no joke. Everybody, I'm pretty sure, a couple people walked away displeased because they did not win, but that just means you go harder next time.
Definitely.
Right. And I'm never gonna tell you who's slamming. Because what I don't want you to do, because a lot of people were asking me, and I'm not saying that the poets that performed, because there was a lot of people who did not register that were asking me who was slamming. Don't worry about it. Because
gotcha.
I don't want you to sign up based on who's slamming or not sign up based on who's slamming. Because if you believe in yourself, I need you to come with it. And so I would not tell anybody. When people ask me, I just be like, crickets.
I think, like, to me, like, that was, out of everything I've been to, that was one of the most, probably the best spoken word event I've ever been in. Like, I just didn't see, they came, like, every time they came with it. The stage presence was crazy. How they grasped the crowd was crazy. Then it was themed rounds. Like, you know how good you got to be to be like, oh, this is the theme? I bet I got one for that. That's crazy. I don't know if you told them theme rounds ahead of time.
I did.
Okay. But even still, like, just to... Because imagine you go third, but somebody done killed it. Like, now do you have the poem to withstand that? Like, that's a lot to go up there and still say it with that kind of confidence. Even maybe knowing yours is not better than the person that doesn't win, or it is better than the person that wins. Like, that's a lot of confidence. I was like, damn, it's a lot. So
it's really all in your delivery. You could talk about butterflies.
You're right.
It's how you deliver it.
You're right.
What about butterflies? And I wanted it themed each round. I did, or not each round, but one round I gave them, they could talk about whatever they wanted to.
Yeah.
But I wanted it themed because I've been to slams that were not themed, because I've been going to slams since I was a teenager. I've been to slams that were not themed, and people will win the crowd with the sympathy card. Because they survived cancer. So now they got a whole bunch of poems about surviving cancer. And that's you're a victor when you do something like that. You know what I mean? I don't put anything past it. I know several cancer survivors, and I know some people fought until they just couldn't fight anymore. But I didn't want that. with the slam. I don't want that with the slam. So I'm going to structure it so that you have to stay within these realms for this round and this round, and then you can venture out and talk about whatever you want to over here if you make it to this round, right? So
No,
that's what it was
like
always.
that was dope. Like that was dope. And then I said they went and get to host. I mean, not host, but headline the next. So that was dope. I do want to get that person on, but I want to wait till they do their headline, then
And
talk
then
about it in totality. Like I thought she was dope. Never saw her before. I'm not getting into it. I want to mention something because I peep a lot of stuff, and I remember her saying when she won, and she was like, I know we don't always see eye to eye, but da 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 da. And I thought that was like even level of professionalism. Like the fact that, because you think about it, especially with being women, being black women too, like he wants y'all to go against each other so much. It's like they'll push y'all to go against each other, and then y'all got your own. I don't want to say ego, but your own ground you got to hold with certain things. But for even her to come to the event, get that performance she gave, y'all both in the same field. You know what I'm saying? Whatever disagreement I did have, whatever, to just be woman enough to be like, hey, I know we don't get along, but thank you. You know what I'm saying? But thank you, because like that tells me it's more about the culture than about self.
Yeah.
You know, because some guys like, hey, I don't mess with him. I ain't going.
Right.
That's dumb. That's dumb.
I think her and I, we're adults. We're grown women. We never have had an issue about the culture. It was personal.
Got you.
Right? And this was years ago. And so we were able to get past that because it was, I think you just realized it was just a moment of immaturity.
Yeah.
Right? And I definitely own my part in, because it really wasn't between her and I. It was between her and, it was between a friend of hers and me. And of course, I'm going to expect you to have loyalty to your friend. You know what I mean? And, but even her friend and I, we're past it. Right?
Common growth. It's that growth and development.
We moved on. Like there's no beef, no animosity. Life's too short to be having all that. And I've always given her her flowers, and she's always given me my flowers. You know what I mean? Because she's dope at what she does. Like she had that one poem she did about her mom.
Yeah,
I was like, please don't make me cry tonight.
That's what it was for me.
Man.
And that wasn't necessarily pity. I was just like, that was phenomenal.
Yeah, it is. It is. Like you can tell how much she loves her mom.
Yeah.
But you can tell how much she loves her artistry. And if you hear her story about how she got to it, she's gonna win you over.
That's what I'm gonna try to do when I get on.
Yes. Make sure you ask her about it.
But
how she memorizes her poems and stuff like that. It's dope.
I was very intrigued by how she switched it up, like from going as serious to joking to laid back to this is the build up, then the build down, and the build up, then the breakdown. I thought that was that's take a certain amount of breath control, crowd control, composure.
Yep.
Among self.
Yep.
That's a lot. But speaking of story, I know you got the book, but I know you've been writing a long time, pretty much. You got the poetry, you got the acting. What do you get mainly from writing? What outlet is that? Is it the same as just you pick different avenues? Like how does writing equate to or compare to when you're on stage acting or when you're on stage performing poetry?
Writing helps me get things out. Sometimes I may get an acting role that's very challenging for me. So then what I go pick up a pen. I get those emotions out, right? And then I'm able to deliver my character better. But writing is a release for me. I have so many pages that have teardrop stains. And I'm like, bruh, and paper sounds different once it's wet and then it dries. And so like, it's crazy. Like when I go back and read some of that stuff and I feel the paper and I'm like, man, I was really balling here because I go through stuff. And it's not things that I post on social media because it's not for the world to know, but I go through things just like everybody else does. And so writing is therapeutic for me. And it also helps people when I perform what I've written, which I don't perform all of it, but when I perform some of the things that I've written, it helps people get to know me a little bit better. For some people who may think that I'm standoffish or think that I'm mean, listen to my poetry, listen to my words, right? And pay attention to my actions and my movements and my facial expressions when I'm on stage. And it'll tell you why I move the way I do. So, but yeah, that's what writing is for me.
How many books you got?
2.
And what? So those both of them right there.
Yes.
So one is emotionally unstable.
That's the first book that released February of this year, and then graphic.
What does that mean?
Emotionally unstable. Yeah. Oh my God, because we be all over the place. I be all over the place.
We meaning women?
No, people.
Oh, just people. Okay.
Yeah,
it's not a sexist book then.
No. Men are emotional creatures as well.
Definitely.
But emotionally unstable. It's a book of my work, and it talks about what it says: love, depression, heartbreak, uncertainty, and being woke. So my mind as an artist, and a lot of artists, is all over the place all of the time, right? Light can trigger a mood. The time of day can trigger a mood. A sound can trigger a mood. And so that's what this book was. It was kind of like a gumbo of who I am, or the things that I've gone through or experienced or seen, right? Or things that I've done. So that's what emotionally unstable was. And sometimes you can't control the emotion.
Who's on the cover of that? Is you?
That's me.
Don't look like you. It looks so different.
Yeah.
What was that? What year was that?
That photo was taken in 2016.
Okay. I didn't even know you then.
No.
Dang.
And then my next book, Graphic Emotions, is a little bit thicker. Graphic Emotions is
Does that say Private Thoughts?
Yes.
Is that a XXX book or
no?
Okay. Sure.
This is a poetry, affirmation, and journal. So you have poems in here, followed by affirmations, but as well as journal pages. So what did this poem trigger for you? It's nothing nice in Graphic Emotions. People think of some of the craziest things when they're by themselves.
So
right?
that book is about what emotions trigger a poem, or like is it poetry, or is it about how you felt?
No, it's poetry.
Okay.
It's poetry about how I feel about something, or about what I've gone through.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Losing friends. Well, and I don't like this. We're either to death, or whether y'all not or talking anymore. And I don't consider, if we're not talking anymore, I don't consider that a loss, because you weren't my friend to begin with. But
Yo,
I know, right?
Yeah,
I'm my daddy's child.
But with that one, which one came first? The
Emotionally Unstable.
And then that one, when did that one come out?
This is coming out in January for my birthday.
Okay.
So and
how are you promoting that one? Like, what are you doing besides podcasts and stuff? Like, what are you promoting?
I have not done anything yet. So
January, no excerpts. Nobody heard nothing from there yet.
No, like I posted a picture of it, and that's about it.
Okay.
When it was completed. January 22nd is my birthday. So January 21st, I'm doing an event at Icons. It's a day event from 3 to 5 p.m. It's called Sample the Jules. So my book will be released for people there. That'll be the first time that anybody can buy it at that event. And then after that, the Amazon link will go live.
Okay.
But Sample the Jules, it engulfs everything about me. Because people are like, well, you do so much. What do you do? I don't understand. So there you'll see the author side of me. You'll see the spoken word side of me. You'll see the actress side of me. You'll see the model side of me, because I model too. And then you'll see the other business side of me, which is Jules Royale, right? That's my skincare company. So you'll get all of that. That's why it's called Sample the Jules.
The skincare. What's that there? You got
this is body butter. This is a small one.
Okay.
And
you've been doing the butter. Don't you got like a beard butter? Or no, that's not. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I have a beard balm.
I ain't got no beard, so I've never had a chance to. You know what I'm saying?
I have beard balm, beard oil. For people who, prefer one over the other. There's body butter. It comes in this size. This is 3 ounces, and it comes in 8 ounces. I have cuticle oil. I also have a body scrub and a foot scrub, because some people got some rough feet out there.
You got anything with rough hands?
You can actually use the body scrub for your hands, and then followed by the cuticle oil. Okay. They all smell really good. The cuticle oil comes in 2 scents, rose and lavender, and then This is the body scrub. It has like a peppermint scent,
Gotcha.
and it has eucalyptus in it.
Where they? I know you said that's the Amazon links for the books, but where they find the
The
where they sample the Jews at?
You can sample the Jules at SawJules.com, and it'll link you to everything
Gotcha.
that I have. The product line, no, that's JulesRoyale.com. I also have yoni steams for women to keep that that pH balance in check and smell it right.
What does yoni mean? Does that mean something?
That's the hoo-ha.
The hoo-ha. Gotcha. Okay.
That's
I
the
think I got it.
woman's vaginal area.
I see a lot of yoni this, yoni that. I just didn't. It's always
Yeah.
women, so I assume it's either breasts or lips. I just didn't know which one it was. Gotcha. It's for the lips.
But it helps women balance their pH, and be fresh down there. And if you have an issue with dryness or too much moisture, it helps you. And if you do the yoni steam before you get ready to, do the horizontal polka, as
Gotcha.
Steve Urkel used to say, it heightens your sensations. So
Okay.
it's really good. So it only comes in one size, which is this bag, and it's $15, and it's good for 4 to 6 rounds. So
4 to 6 rounds. Okay.
I mean, not of relations, 4 to 6 rounds of steam.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I'm like, all right, that's all right. But I do want to get back to the book you putting out in January.
Graphic emotions.
Yeah. So I want you to read that from, but I want you to give me an example of like what kind of emotions they can expect from the book, or if they can expect to relate, or would it be something where they're reading it and feeling the same way you're feeling? Like what you expect them to get from reading the book, rather?
I'm hoping that it pulls the anger out of people, right? Not anger to the point where you want to go do something to somebody, but anger to the point where you pull it out and write it out so you can release it. I'm hoping that it pulls the hurt out of you so you can write it out and release it. That's important. There's a poem in there called Time, and it's how people drift apart. It's not very long, but it's like time passes us by. A day and we haven't talked. A day turns into a week, that turns into a month, that turns into a year, and so on and so forth. And you find yourself missing the person that you used to hang out with. And you're like, why didn't I just pick up the phone? Why didn't I just pull up on them and talk about it? Because things can really be hashed out with a simple conversation. But then, stubbornness gets in the way, or you feel like it's too far gone, too many infractions have happened, or whatever have you. But most of the time, it's just stubbornness. It's pride that gets in the way. So that's what that poem is about, right? Because I have people that I miss. So that's why I wrote it.
I like that because I think everybody can relate to that. But I know for me in particular, yeah, I can say that I'm that type of person. Like I'll just let days go by, a week go by. It'd be stubbornness for the most part, right? Mm-hmm. But then you get to the point where you might do miss the person, but at the same time, it's like too much time doing by now. So and because you're stubborn, you're not gonna reach out for real now. You know what I'm saying? Because then you got to explain, well, why didn't you reach out earlier? You know what I'm saying? You might not want to explain that. So it's a lot of emotions come with that. It's like anger at yourself, is frustration at the person for not being a big person. You know what I'm saying? We get mad at somebody else for not being a big person. So it's a lot of that. So I can see that. Now I want to do this, expound on that, because I feel like I wanted to pull that out of it, like that it's going to be relatable in the sense of it'll be mixed emotions with every single thing. Even if you think you're supposed to be angry, you might not be angry because you might feel like that's how somebody else feel with you. And now you could probably understand them and how they act towards you now. I be having that, I be wanting to ask that question sometimes with people that maybe used to be with each other or whatever. Let's say they got kids, whatever, right? And you got a guy who just gives the mom a hard time. I'm going to use that example. I always ask, like, well, what happened in your relationship that he just mad at you, And a lot of times what you'll find is that it's not even that they have an issue. It's just that whatever happened in between that, it's probably still affecting them. Mm-hmm. So they just give you a hard time for that reason. But like you don't know until like that person starts, you know what, damn, you're right. I didn't think about that. Mm-hmm. Like you don't, because when you hurt somebody, you're not thinking about when you hurt somebody, you're not hurt. Right. That person's hurt. You're not thinking about it,
You don't care.
Yeah, so you wondering why this person, why he did it, why she do it. You know why. You don't know why because you're not thinking about it, but if you get that person's perspective on it, then you would. And I think that's what that's going to do. Because, like I said, it's one point of view, but you got to think it's always somebody on the opposite side of that as well.
Yeah.
So when you think about the time
I
thing,
still don't know why my baby daddy ain't reached out.
you grew up. You done glowed up. You know what I'm saying? Doing your thing. You know. You're doing your thing, man.
I mean,
Stubbornness, man.
20. My son is 21. 18 years. We have not heard from him, and I think it's because he's embarrassed.
That too. Embarrassment is another thing.
But how do you get to the point where you embarrassed? Why you let so much time lapse?
Stubbornness.
I guess.
You got the answers, huh?
I guess. I don't know. Because I'm like, I never made it about me. It's always been about the kid.
You got to send him the book, man.
I'm not sending him anything. I don't know where he is.
He's somewhere around.
Look at me. Hopefully. I'm just being stubborn. But whatever it is, what it is. I don't know him. I don't know him. He doesn't know me either, right? But like he just literally walked out of our kid's life one day and never looked back. It's a bazillion years later after we moved here, his wife, which I didn't even know he was married, but his wife reached out to my son. I'm like, I don't know you. Have him reach out to his son.
Still haven't heard from him?
Hell no. My son has a relationship with his uncles.
That gotta be tough. That seems so not nasty but it just seems so I can't. I don't want to imagine like, you know, my nephew didn't talk to me but can't say they spoke with their dad. I just feel like the first time around their dad, I'm gonna choke their dad up and be like, yo, talk to your kids, what's wrong with you, you know?
Well, from what I hear, they don't really talk to him either. Well. So I mean I had a baby with the weirdo. It is what it is.
Sometimes, you know.
But my son is amazing.
Yeah, he definitely is.
And what I won't do is take that away from him. Because without him, my son wouldn't be who he is. Right?
So I always say it's perspective. I look at it the same way. I feel like I don't get mad for nothing that I had to endure. Like I'm pretty sure he don't get mad that he endured because it builds your character.
It does.
And sometimes you don't realize how sometimes things being in your life could make you lazy. I know a lot of kids, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I know I got their mom and dad, but it's a lot of factors they don't have that I have because I didn't have that.
Yeah,
you know? Absolutely. And I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Of course, you don't want to not go with that, but because it happened, like I know that's why I have this edge. Mm-hmm. And I'm appreciate it every time. So.
And I love for things to be a certain way, but my son is a perfectionist. Yeah. His biological father was a perfectionist about himself, about his appearance. But that's like, you know, whatever. My son wasn't around him, but he pulled that from him. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, and that's a good thing.
It's in his DNA.
And he's handsome. And his dad wasn't necessarily, may not have necessarily been a gentleman, but my son is. So what he did was he took some good qualities, he carried those on, and those bad ones, he turned them around and was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be that way. So I can never be upset for laying down and having a baby with him, right? I can be upset that I had to do it all by myself. Yeah. Right? Because you never called, you never paid, you know, your child support. He paid for 6 months. In 21 years, I got 6 months worth of payments. It's $80 a month. You do the math.
Yeah, it's not a lot of money.
That's why I don't join in those child support conversations when chicks be like, oh, I'm about to get him for this, or guys be like, I'm so tired of paying child support. I'm not joining in that. Them y'all reindeer games. I can't do it.
It's foreign to you.
It is very foreign to me. Because all I know was to do what I needed to do to make sure my son was straight. Right? And I'm not going... And people be like, well, you laid down with him. I know what I did. I was very present in the moment.
That was it.
I was very present in the moment. And people always say, they get on to women all the time about having babies. Why you ain't married? You should have had to wait till you got married to have a baby. Husbands leave too.
But and then also it don't work out that way. Like this.
It don't.
Yeah,
and there's some deadbeat mamas out there. Yeah. Like, come on now. Like, having a baby changes you for the good or for the worse, for the better or worse. So you just have to make that choice on when you have a baby and who you gonna be.
I want to ask you a question. Cause I saw it somewhere, and me and my sister talked about it briefly, but I know you having the poetic and just that artistic view of things too. Sometimes, because you mentioned something just now, sometimes people say, you know, when you have I guess a horrible baby daddy or whatever, not present or just ain't doing nothing, they say, well, you picked them. That's that. I guess the term. Or you picked it, right? And I hear people say that's a narrative and it's that and third, which what is it? What it is? What's your? And I'm not feeling this way. I don't feel that way, but I want to know what's your thoughts on that that statement, that process of why somebody would think that you literally lay down and say, okay, cool. I know you ain't gonna be nothing. But I'm gonna go ahead and let this stay in me. We gonna do the thing. Because that's what that line means to me.
Yeah.
You say you picked them, it makes it seem like you knew from the get go. Now there are some that's like that.
Yeah.
But
it's a small percentage.
It's not all. Yeah, it's not all. And then I think age wise, you're not even thinking about, unless you already have them, what a kid gonna actually mean.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously women can change. They with you, so you got that 9 months of change and all that stuff. But what do you think about that statement as far as it kind of meaning that you already knew this person wasn't going to do the right thing, but you said, okay, it's cool.
Well, the statement is true. I picked him. Yes, I picked him. I chose
to have sex with. Yes.
To have sex with, and did I know the consequences or what could be a result of us having sex? Yes, I do, or I did. I didn't pick for him to disappear, right? Because when I told him I was pregnant, I wanted to have an abortion. But something just wouldn't let me do that. And he was like, "No, we gonna get through this. We gonna raise our baby." Da 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 da. Right? He was reassuring me.
That's the part they won't tell you in that statement. That when you pronounce the news, they was okay with it. They was parading with it. They was acting like they was on board.
And let me tell you, in all my son's life, I have never been the baby mama drama. Never. I'm not gonna call you for nothing. He missed our son's first birthday. He missed the second one. He came to the third one and tried to create a scene. We won't get into details, but I was about to be putting them silver bracelets. Because what you're not going to do is not put in on this and then show up and try to call shots. Because he didn't pay anything.
You about to slide on him.
He had, okay? But he was there. So I was just going to slide over to the other side of the table. But he has never given my son anything. Not even a Christmas card or a birthday card. He probably don't even know when his birthday is. I didn't choose that. He chose that and made it our reality. People need to stop opening their mouths on other people's business. Most of the folk that do that going through the same thing, but there's no microscope on them at the moment or in that moment. And it feels good for them to come down hard on somebody else. And I'm like, you keep your mouth closed on other people because you're going to probably end up going through the same thing.
Well, two things. One, that was a beautiful explanation on that. I knew you would give me an artistic explanation. That was dope. Because that whole he chose that, made it, I like that. That's what it be. It don't be you chose. He chose to do that,
Mm-hmm.
But second thing is, yeah, I think I have a saying. I'll be like, people always say, when people say, couldn't be me, it's usually them next.
Yeah.
I can put names in it, but I know a woman now. And I remember when she was younger, she would always talk like, people have their dramas. I don't know how she would mess with him. Ain't no way I could do that. Ain't no way I could do that. And I've been seeing some stuff. I'm like, yeah, see, you kept saying ain't no way. And look, he made a way. He made a way. And, you still, staying with him. And it's like, it makes you think like, I don't look nobody less than because I already know how stuff like that can happen, But I always feel like when you say couldn't be me, it's almost like you setting it's like you asking whether it's God or whoever, people believe in, whatever somebody make things happen, you ask them, hey, look, please let me endure this so I can show them that it won't be me. And then you're going to keep showing them that it will be you.
Yeah. I be seeing that when people talk about in relationships, they talk about money. Mm-hmm. It's a couple of chicks on my timeline. All they do is talk about, y'all need to work, y'all need to do this, and da-da-da. It's just this simple. It's not.
It's never not. It's never not that simple.
I'm a woman who used to make a certain amount, every year, right? I was this close to making six figures 10 years ago, right? And this was every year for me. And then I got laid off from my job after we moved here because I was still working my job that I had in Wisconsin. But I was working from home, making amazing money. Then plus I got all my side hustles, right? It took me a year to find a job. And I was making less than half of what I was making on the other job. The moves I had made were based on the income, the almost six-figure income that I had.
Right.
And I almost lost everything. I mean, when I say almost, it was literally down to the 11th hour. And I'm telling people, like, you don't know when your time to come is going to come for you to struggle. You need to stop speaking on other people's financial situations. I took a job making $13 an hour when I'm used to making 30 plus an hour.
I'm about to say that's humbling. That's definitely humbling.
My feelings.
And you probably had to accept
hurt.
that, like you was,
I did.
you know, like, hey, thanks.
I did.
You know,
I had to be appreciative of it. Now I've since elevated, but I'm like, when you have to go, when your salary is cut by more than half, and you like, how am I gonna pay these bills? And I got a kid.
lifestyle got to change. You know what I'm saying? Habits got to change.
Okay, and that's the crazy thing. I never lived a lavish lifestyle, ever. I drove a Rogue.
I drive a Rogue.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. That's all good. Nah,
But it was a
it's all good.
2013 Rogue. So, and you know, that was definitely like a soccer mom car.
I'm a soccer mom right now. I got two.
Yeah, but your babies are so beautiful. You're such a great dad.
I try. You know, I be trying, man. It's definitely tough, but I be trying.
That little one, oh my God, the youngest one, she's your twin.
It's my twin, man.
Oh my God, she looks just like you. But y'all be so cute together. I just love it. I love the interaction you have with your babies.
You know, it's funny. You always say that too. So that's real genuine. Cause every time I see you make sure you tell me that. I don't care where I'm at. You always tell me that.
Because black men do not get enough credit.
Right.
The ones that take care of the babies, they do not get enough credit for that. And I just love seeing it. I mean, mom or dad, you're not supposed to get kudos or look for kudos for doing what you're supposed to do, right? But I just love seeing that. I love when people have great connections with their kids. And y'all be so adorable. And they just be getting you. Yeah, and I know they got you wrapped around their finger.
Definitely do. Jesus Christ. How about she in the studio now? She was like, I'm just coming with you. I'm like, nah, like, please. Like, all right, come on. We ain't got to put up a fight. Just come on. It's all good. You just roll with me today.
When they want to be around their baby, when the babies want to be around their parents, don't push them away.
Definitely. About to say, you better embrace it because it might not always be there.
Yeah.
Just like you were saying with the money, like, you might not always have that. So I don't talk down people either. Like, I don't like people do that. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth when people talk like that. When they up or they, feel like they're in a certain level, so they talk down on people.
Yeah.
I don't know, just do something to me. I just don't like it.
I don't like it. I just
don't like it.
But you know what? I have to remember in the back of my mind, it's about to come around to them. They about to see.
And the crazy thing is, like, for me, and not that you are, but the crazy thing, I really don't be wishing that. I be going to tell them, like, I hope that you don't see why you shouldn't be saying that. But and like I said, I'm not the person that move things around. So
right.
I don't know, but I hope that you don't, because then it's a humbling experience you don't want to have.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you this question though, like before we wrap up. I do want to ask you this. Being a black woman, being a woman for one, but just being a black woman, and just not the field you in, but just business wise, and you having to work your way from not being known right here to being known right here. What tips what tips could you give like the younger black women that's trying to just succeed, whether it be locally business, whether it be outside of Atlanta, I don't care, pickup games, not pickup games, any kind of business. Like, what tips could you give them that, or things that you've endured that you had to learn from, or take an L from, grow from, and then you hear where you at now?
Never lose sight of why you're doing it. Hold on to that. Do not sell yourself or your soul, because at the end of the day, you go home with you. And it's a lot of demons in this industry, and if you let them seep in, they will. As a woman, I've been propositioned. So for studio time, it's not that deep. You know what? I'm just gonna go buy my own home studio. and which is what I did.
Yeah.
You propositioning me for a feature, I'll go create my own stage. You know, what you see on social media and on reality TV is not real. We don't go sit down at a restaurant and have a conversation and turn over a table. That's what we not fit to do. Some people get hit for real. Do you want to be on the receiving end of a fist?
No, I don't.
I don't. I'm a woman of a certain age. It take a little bit longer for me to heal.
Yeah, true. Definitely.
So, and be consistent with what you do. Consistency is the most important thing. And stop getting on social media just airing all your business.
Don't like being emotional on most of social media, or just
you can be. I never want to take a person's emotions away, but you have to control them.
be stable.
Yes. Yeah, don't be emotionally unstable in public.
But definitely buy the book, though.
But if you definitely buy the book, definitely. The Amazon link is out there for emotionally unstable, and it will be dropping for graphic emotions as well. I never want people to think that I'm trying to take their emotions away, because you deserve to have them. You have to control them. You can't allow your emotions to control you and you're acting out.
Mm-hmm.
Watch what you're saying on social media, because people, you never know who's screenshotting it, who taking a sound bite, and it's gonna come back to haunt you. So,
no, I definitely I like everything you just said. I wonder, and I don't know if this is a thing, if it's not a thing. I'm just curious because I see it with I always link any kind of connotation. I link it with each other. So like you got white men power, I guess, whatever, Then you got what they say about black men in power, black women in power, whatever. And then I know when you are of that, whatever group you are, it comes with a certain way you approach certain things, of course. Mm-hmm. Has that ever hindered you, or have you ever felt like you, or can a black woman rather, overdo things because they feel like they have to, because they're a black woman, they have to go into a room a certain way? And could that mess them up at all? Or is it just like, hey, stand your ground, do what you gotta do? Should you always approach every room as if like, because I'm a woman, they're gonna try to do this?
Yeah.
Or okay.
And it's sad because I'm a woman, people are already going to look at me and feel away. And if I'm passionate about something, they're going to tell me I have an attitude, or I'm yelling, I'm too loud, whatever. If I say something, I shouldn't have said it. I shouldn't have said it that way. I shouldn't have said it to that person, right? Case in point, a guy can post something on social media, and I've seen it happen. One of my Facebook friends in particular posted something on social media about relationships. And then I posted the same thing. I posted it first. He told me I was mean. I was, I be tripping on social media. And a lot of people look at me as mean, right? Then he posted a couple days later, same scenario. They're praising him. Mm. Even the people that were on my post coming down on me on his post praising him. Women. And I'm like, girl, he's not going to give you the D. And if he do, he's not going to respect you in the morning. Because that's what with them, that's what it boiled down to. Me. But I'm just like, why is it that he can say something and I say the same thing? He can say it in a yell. He could literally be yelling, but I say it in a stern tone, and I'm the one with an attitude. Hmm. I'm an educated woman. I put this in one of my poems. I have a degree, right? I have tons of experience, and I've worked so many different jobs, right? When I walk into a room, and I'm 40, by the way. So if I go work for somebody at their company and they disrespect me, that will be the last time. Right? Because it never should have got to that point. I don't care what your title is. I had an attorney fire me because she yelled at me, and I told her, don't raise her voice to me.
And that was it. She let you go.
That was it. I said, don't yell at me. This was on a Friday. I came into work that Monday, and she was like, I'm just going to have to terminate you. You can terminate me all you want to, but what you won't do is yell at me. She put her hand on my shoulder and was like, if there's anything you need from me, I said, I need you to take your hand off me. Period. Because you mad because I won't let you disrespect me.
Yeah.
I don't care what title you hold. I know your job just as well as you do because I'm a paralegal and I've been doing it. Probably I haven't been a paralegal as long as you, but I have to do the legwork. So I know what I'm talking about, just like you do. But you're not going to yell at me. And I don't know if that's the culture in Georgia because it's not like that in Wisconsin. I worked for another attorney up there. I was a paralegal up there. And he came at me sideways. It was a white man.
In Wisconsin?
In Wisconsin. He
didn't
came
yell
at
at you,
me.
though.
Oh, he did. And
wow.
guess what she did? She yelled right back with him. And he was the owner of the firm. I'm finna get with you. And I came in the next day. I thought I was fired. I had done packed up my stuff and everything. Came in the next day, courtside seats to the Bucks game. And he was like, I respect you now.
That's why, and that's I know we had to do that to get to that, but that's why I get it. I feel like sometimes it take that for y'all to get the respect, and
yeah,
or just for I'll say certain groups. I don't want to only put women in it because it's other groups like in subgroups of groups, whatever But sometimes it take you going on that like leaping and or just getting your respect. Like we said, might want to book me. All right, make my own show. Yeah. Might want to respect me. I'm gonna take my respect. Yeah, somehow, some way. And even the lady that fired that let you go respect you probably more likely.
Oh yeah, because when I've seen that attorney in public, right? She's a black woman. I've seen her. That sucks. I've seen her at the store, and she is quick to go the other way. But you embarrassed because you know you was wrong for what you did. Even another attorney that worked at the firm told her she was wrong.
I promise the last question, but how is it with amongst black women in power? Do y'all get along? Is it tougher because it's only room for one, maybe, or people feel like it's only room for one? Like what's the dynamic of black women in power? We hear about women in power when there's men around, women and white men, this, that, and third, black men, white. What is it like when it's a group of black women in power, though? Like, what is that like?
It group really depends. 2 or 3, It really depends on where you at and what type of black women you're around. Now, unfortunately, the black women that I have worked with in the legal field have been out for self, which means they have been willing to step on to get to where they want, not willing to look out for. Because I'm going in and I'm like, oh, we sisters and, what I mean? We about to do this. And I had to learn quickly that that's not what it was going to be.
Is that preyed upon? Like, do you think that people in power like that so they can't step on you? Because I think when you have that mentality, you not you per se, but a person is naive to what somebody else's intentions are. If you thinking we and I'm thinking it worked for me,
Exactly. There are a lot of people who are in positions of power and they are really just out for self. They don't care about anybody else. They don't care about the whole, black people got to stick together, kumbaya, follow the drinking gourd, none of that. Which is unfortunate because every other race of people stick together. They pull each other up. They put each other in positions to be successful. And we really don't, which is very, very sad. It's very disheartening. But it is a reality. It is what it is.
Well, look, man. I like that. That was a good answer. I ain't mean to get that deep, but just that I wanted to ask that question. But you being in power and all that stuff, and I never got to answer that question because we never got to that conversation. But yeah, man. This was dope. I like to think, like I said, the first time we did, I thought it was dope too. But I was newer than at doing that, so I was always like, my questions were my questions. I don't care how the vibe was. If I had 15 questions, I'm only asking 15 questions, right? But now I don't use nothing anymore. I just kind of go off the vibe, and this was dope. I like this. This was dope. I don't know if you know, it was 2 hours. It don't seem like it was 2 hours.
No, I never even looked at the time.
Well, a minute 49 seconds, something like that. But they're gonna say, "Damn, 2 hours must be real good." Yeah, because they know me. I'm 60 to 90. After that, I'm cutting out. I'm cutting it short. But it was tough. It was we had a lot of good stuff to talk about though.
Yeah, this was good. I
liked it, man. Hey man, sometimes you come to a good show, that's what happens,
Yeah, that's what happens.
So good luck everywhere else. Now I'm playing. But this was dope. Tell me where they can find your stuff at too before we get out of here.
Just go to Jules, SAJULES com, and that will link you to everything where I'm performing at, what events I got going on, my merchandise, my books, my product line, everything.
All right, man. One Man's Podcast. We out.
Peace.